In 1960, the world watched in awe as a young woman from a small town in Tennessee, with nothing but sheer willpower, sprinted her way into history. She defied every expectation, every challenge, and every obstacle that stood in her way. A girl who couldn't walk, a woman who would become the fastest on Earth. Wilma Rudolph's story is one of relentless courage, resilience, and the triumph of the human spirit. But how did a girl who was told she would never walk again go on to become the fastest woman in the world? This is a story of strength that transformed a polio survivor into an Olympic champion. It's a story that inspires, uplifts, and challenges us to push beyond the impossible. Wilma Glodian Rudolph was born on June 23, 1940, in Clarksville, Tennessee, to a family that would soon face unimaginable challenges. The youngest of 22 siblings, Wilma came into a world where resources were scarce and the weight of poverty was heavy. But it was more than just her circumstances that defined her early life. Wilma would soon face something even more daunting, a battle for her very ability to walk. At the tender age of 4, Wilma contracted polio. The disease, a silent enemy, crippled her left leg. Doctors said she would never walk again. It was a devastating diagnosis, one that would have broken most spirits, but not Wilma's. Her mother, Blanche Rudolph, a woman of remarkable strength and faith, refused to accept that fate. She took her daughter to therapy sessions religiously, massaging Wilma's legs, making sure she did everything possible to strengthen them. For years, Wilma endured pain, discomfort, and frustration, but with each passing day, she got stronger. Her determination and her mother's unwavering support kept her going. In time, Wilma would stand, then walk, and eventually run. The road to recovery wasn't easy. It was long and grueling. For a girl who had spent years in leg braces and crutches, the idea of running seemed like an impossible dream. But Wilma never gave up. By the time she was in high school, she had not only learned to walk, but was ready to push her limits even further. Wilma was spotted by a track coach, Edward S. Temple, at a local high school meet. He saw something special in her, a spark of talent, of natural athleticism. Wilma's coach saw more than just her ability to move. He saw her strength, her resilience, and her heart. Under his mentorship, Wilma began to train in track and field, and it didn't take long before she was running like the wind. But the road wasn't smooth. There were doubters everywhere, critics who questioned whether someone who had been so frail as a child could ever truly compete at the highest levels of track and field. They were wrong. Wilma was more than capable. She was unstoppable. Wilma's big break came at the 1956 Summer Olympics in Melbourne, Australia. At just 16 years old, she competed in the women's 4x100-meter relay, earning a bronze medal. But for Wilma, this was just the beginning. She wasn't satisfied with simply participating. She had set her sights on something bigger. Returning home, she continued her training, pushing her body to new limits. Her coach, Edward Temple, was by her side every step of the way, ensuring that she stayed focused and disciplined. Wilma's body had transformed. She was no longer just a survivor of polio. She was becoming a force to be reckoned with. The year 1960 would be a pivotal one for Wilma. At the age of 20, she was selected to represent the United States at the Rome Olympics. She was about to face the greatest challenge of her life. But despite the pressure, Wilma knew that this was her moment, her time to shine. In Rome, she ran with a grace and speed that took everyone by surprise. The world was watching, and she was determined to prove herself. Wilma's first event was the 100-meter dash, and the competition was fierce. But when the gunshot echoed through the stadium, Wilma was off. Her legs, once weakened by polio, now powered by speed and strength. She blazed down the track and crossed the finish line first, winning the gold medal. But she wasn't done yet. Wilma went on to win 2 more gold medals in the 200-meter and the 4x100-meter relay. She had done it. She had become the fastest woman in the world, and in doing so, she had shattered expectations, both personal and societal. Wilma Rudolph's victories at the Rome Olympics were more than just athletic triumphs. They were a symbol of defiance against the limitations society had placed on her. In the United States, the 1960s were a time of racial tensions and civil rights struggles. As an African-American woman, Wilma had to fight not only for acceptance in a predominantly white, male-dominated sport, but also for recognition of her achievements. But Wilma never let the color of her skin or the gender she was born with define her. She was determined to make a difference, to prove that strength and resilience didn't have boundaries. She was a role model to millions of people, showing them that no dream was too big, no challenge insurmountable. Her story was not just one of athleticism, but of a revolution, a personal revolution that inspired a nation to believe in themselves and their own potential. Wilma Rudolph wasn't just the fastest woman in the world. She was a symbol of overcoming the impossible. After the Olympics, Wilma's life didn't slow down. She was celebrated across the globe, hailed as a national hero. But Wilma's journey wasn't about the medals or the fame. It was about what she could do for others. She became an advocate for civil rights, using her platform to fight for equality. She spoke out for young girls, particularly young African-American girls, showing them that they too could achieve greatness, no matter where they came from or the challenges they faced. Wilma's influence extended far beyond sports. She was an inspiration to anyone who faced adversity, showing them that with determination, anything was possible. Her story wasn't just about becoming the fastest woman in the world, it was about defying expectations, breaking down barriers, and never giving up. Even after her Olympic triumphs, Wilma faced personal challenges. She retired from competitive sports shortly after the 1960 Olympics, but life didn't always give her an easy path. She struggled with her health, balancing family life and dealing with personal tragedies. Yet, Wilma's spirit never wavered. She continued to be a voice for those who needed it, advocating for children's health and education. Her life was a testament to the idea that our greatest strength often comes not from our victories, but from how we handle our struggles. Through every hurdle, Wilma remained steadfast. Her message was clear: you are capable of far more than you think, even when life tells you otherwise. Wilma Rudolph's story reminds us that we all have an inner strength that we can draw upon when life throws obstacles in our way. It teaches us that no matter the setbacks, no matter how impossible the dream may seem, we have the power to overcome it. Today, as we reflect on Wilma's life, we are reminded that the limits we perceive are often just illusions. The real power lies within us, in our hearts and minds. It's time to break free from those limitations, to chase our dreams with the same relentless passion that Wilma did. Are you ready to run your own race? To face your challenges head-on and rise above them? Wilma Rudolph's journey shows us that anything is possible if we believe in ourselves. So, the next time you face a challenge, remember Wilma's story. Stand tall, push forward, and know that you have everything it takes to be your own champion. Subscribe now to get inspired by more incredible stories of resilience, strength, and triumph. Your journey starts today.